What happens when two artists return with nothing left to prove but everything left to say? Gnarls Barkley just dropped Atlanta, their supposed last installment to their creative trilogy. Let's talk about it. What's going on, y'all? It's your man Lighthouse, and you're now tuned into another episode of Everything for Everybody. And today we'll be discussing Gnarls Barkley's Atlanta project. There's something quietly radical about revisiting Gnarls Barkley in 2026. Not in the sense of nostalgia, but in the way their work reminds you that experimentation, when done with intention, can still feel human. What always anchored that experimentation for me was CeeLo Green, a voice so distinct it didn't just cut through records, it reframed them. The first time I heard him was on Cool Breeze's Watch for the Hook, and it didn't register as another rapper. It sounded authoritative, almost theatrical, like a voice stepping out of the culture and narrating it at the same time. That impression never really left. I thought it was Judge Mills Lane's, if I'm gonna be honest with you. What Atlanta does and what makes it compelling beyond legacy is that it doesn't attempt to modernize Gnarls Barkley. It preserves their aesthetic language while allowing time to sit inside it. There's a patience here, both in concept and execution, that feels almost defiant in today's attention economy. 2 albums in the mid-2000s, then silence. No rollout, no reunion theatrics, just 2 artists, Danger Mouse and CeeLo, living full creative lives independently before returning to complete something they once framed as a trilogy. That context matters. It informs the tone of Atlanta. This is not a comeback album, it's a closing statement, and the album plays like one. Sonically, it exists in the beautifully off-center space Gnarls Barkley always occupied, familiar enough to enter and strange enough to cleanse your palate. But lyrically, it's far less abstract than their earlier work. The emotional register is grounded in memory, mortality, and a kind of unromantic honesty that feels distinctly Southern in its cadence. Atlanta, as both place and idea, is not treated as scenery. It's a psychological map. Movement, distance, absence, and survival. These concepts are embodied in how the stories unfold. There's a recurring sense that life is happening in real time without editorial framing. Loss isn't dramatized, it accumulates. Joy isn't guaranteed, it's negotiated. Even the moments of warmth feel conditional, like they've been earned rather than offered freely. That tension between comfort and uncertainty is where the album lives. The spiritual thread running through the project is especially striking, not because it offers answers, but because it refuses them. Questions about God, death, and purpose circle the album without resolution, and CeeLo doesn't approach them like a philosopher searching for truth. He approaches them like someone documenting the absence of it. The result is less doctrine, more diagnosis. There's resignation in some moments, defiance in others, but never illusion. Even at its most existential, the album avoids melodrama. It speaks plainly, almost clinical, about things people usually dress up. Meanwhile, Danger Mouse's production operates with remarkable restraint. He doesn't attempt to compete with the subject matter, he supports it. The arrangements are skeletal in the best sense, just enough texture to carry the emotion without distracting from it. It's a producer trusting the voice, not decorating it, and that choice allows the album's heavier themes to land without dilution. There are moments where the music almost begs to expand, where the lyrical intensity suggests something more explosive, but the refusal to do so becomes part of the aesthetic. The tension between what could happen musically and what doesn't is intentional. It keeps the listener locked into the narrative rather than escaping into the production. At its core, Atlanta feels like an album about limits, emotional, spiritual, and existential, and what it means to live honestly within them. There's love here, but it's practical. There's hope, but it's conditional. There's beauty, but it's fleeting. And yet none of these feel nihilistic. If anything, it feels grounded, like a weather report and not a sermon. For those who remember when music felt a little less crowded, a little more deliberate, this album doesn't try to recreate that. For those of us who remember when music felt a little less crowded, a little more deliberate, this album doesn't try to recreate that era. It simply reminds you what it sounded like when artists weren't afraid to sit with complexity. And in doing so, Gnarls Barkley once again positions themselves exactly where they've always been. Slightly outside the center, but essential to the shape of it. But that's my time, y'all. Thank you for checking out another episode of Everything for Everybody. Let me know what you was thinking about this album. Was you feeling it or was you not? Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can stay in the loop. Until next time, take care of yourself. Peace.